This week, we're going to talk about why I think you should go easy on yourself. It sounds easier said than done, but there's a lot more to that, and I will go over it all. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast, where each week I will be discussing all things fasting and how it can become the most valuable tool in your personal toolkit so that you can live a long, healthy, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Vicki Sharon, and thank you for joining me. Things are going to go wrong, you are going to be challenged, and many things will evolve and change on your journey. But I am very much passionately encouraging you right now, please be sure to go easy on yourself throughout this journey. So many times in our best efforts, in our best intentions, we want the best for ourselves, obviously, but sometimes we go a little too hard, a little too much on the gas, I say with finger quotes, too hard. And I want you to think about this for a moment. And you may have heard this kind of metaphor euphemism described before. You wouldn't go from being a couch potato to the next day to running a marathon or even a 5K. You would have to build up your endurance to be able to go on these long distance treks with our physical body. The same would apply in the practice of fasting. And going easy on yourself, I know, is easier said than done. But I want you to think about this process. As I've said many times before, this is a journey. This is a marathon and should not be a sprint. This should be something where you are allowing yourself to embrace and expect lots of learning opportunities despite any shortcomings that happen, any challenges that happen, instead of constant fear or the need to do things perfectly, stop or halt your progress. So often I see in folks where they believe that in order to be successful, it has to be at full speed. And the parable of the tortoise and the hare, how the hare thought he was going to win, and then the turtle with the slow and steady wins the race. That has been my mantra for a very long time. And I remember another little euphemism that I'll share with you that I used to say to myself, and then I think I started putting it outward very early in my journey. And, some people would say onwards and upwards. Well, obviously with our weight, we're trying to go downwards, right? Well, anytime anything was a learning opportunity or maybe a misstep or something in my journey where it didn't go right or I was just below meeting my expectations or whatever, an opportunity, let's say, for a potentially negative kind of consequence or situation, the way that I would interpret it as, instead of getting all bent out of shape and upset about it, my thought was, well, onward and downward. Even if onward and downward was 1 pound 1 week or no pounds 1 week, onward and downward. Keep going. Just keep going. And throughout this process, throughout your journey, as you keep going, it's going to be easier to go easy on yourself. It's going to be easier to give yourself a little bit of grace, a little bit of patience, compassion. You're going to see and understand the true value of the efforts. No matter how small, you are going to see and feel those efforts, even in the smallest sense that you don't think is making a big difference. This is where that bodily awareness builds, and you start to notice all these beautiful little things that are changing and evolving for the better on yourself, on your journey. And each time one of those things happen, I am going to highly suggest to you to take a moment to inventory that, whether you're inventorying, journaling, recording yourself, or whatever fun method works for you. Document this process. Document, when things don't go great, but use it as like a kind of a cathartic release. Once you get it out and you write it down or record it or document it, however, move forward so that you're looking forward to whatever exciting thing comes next, whether that's another maybe sidestep, misstep, whatever, or an opportunity to let yourself really deeply feel the benefits of the fruits of your labor, right? The fruits of your effort to see how well you're doing on this process. Because I promise you, you're probably doing a lot better than you're giving yourself credit for. So that's going to be my challenge in homework. I might start doing this thing where let's go ahead. Let's start this thing where I give you a quick little blip of fun homework, of fun work, so that we're able to continue to grow and evolve throughout this journey into our best self possible. My question for you, and I want to hear what your response is. My question to you is, what are you most proud of yourself on this journey so far? It's so easy to knock ourselves down and to see the negative components of how things have been going. But I am telling you, there's at least one big thing that you are super proud of yourself for on this journey. There's something. Even if it's starting right now as a small little thing, that little thing will grow in significance and meaning with permanence as you go on. And so long as you're consistent too. That's also important. So I want to hear about what your one thing is that you're proud of so far. Send me a message, Vicki, VICKI, at thefastingfocusedlifestyle.com. I want to hear about it. And while we're on that similar topic, I want to encourage you, if you haven't been in a bit, go check out my website, thefastingfocusedlifestyle.com. I've done some refreshing housekeeping, and I have now set up the ability to purchase and download the beginner handbook. So it's a shorter, condensed version of the official Fasting Focused Lifestyle handbook that I put together, that I include as part of the support plan. But to get started, for folks that are needing that assistance, but maybe this is you, maybe you're not quite yet ready to have those consults with me, but you still want my help. This is going to be the best path for your success. This beginner handbook, Fasting Focused Lifestyle Handbook, is a shorter, maybe condensed version of the regular full Fasting Focused Lifestyle Handbook. This has got just the few bits and pieces to get you off and started. Maybe if you're entirely new to fasting, or maybe need a revised approach in your method. What do I cover in the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Beginner Mini Handbook? Taking a little sneak peek inside the table of contents for you to get an idea of what is inside. The first section is Meet Me, your coach. Then we talk about the 3 basic pillars. I talk about this in the beginning episodes. I believe it's like episode 2. I think I talk about the basic pillars and starting. But in the handbook, you're going to have an opportunity to interact and write down and really take ownership of these pillars and why they are so important and will continue to be as they also grow and evolve, as messy as it can be sometimes. Those will evolve as well and change throughout your journey. I also talk about obesity and fasting with the facts behind why fasting is such a valuable tool that is finally coming back into its rightful place as a helpful body balancing lifestyle tool. It's a lifestyle tool. Then we get 2 pages of fasting frequently asked questions. Those are great. Those are the most commonly asked questions that I get on a regular basis. I'm always open to more, and there is opportunity for you to submit any questions that you think may be a good fit in there for future editions of the handbook as well. One of my favorite pages where I talk about food lists. So within this handbook, you get your food lists and the significance to why I suggest approaching your food choices in this specific way instead of a good, bad, restricted, unlimited, punishment, cheat. The verbiage that we use on our journey, you're going to see, if you haven't seen and experienced already, the verbiage that we choose to speak on our journey can be our biggest asset or our biggest challenge. And it doesn't have to be as difficult and complex as most may think. And it doesn't have to be in a punishment sense either. Then I cover a basic fasting schedule as a beginner, or maybe you haven't been successful in your previous attempts. As you'll see, as I cover in the handbook, I do mention about consistency, as well as previous podcast episodes. I talk about consistency and why that matters. It absolutely does, and you'll see. I also include a monthly fasting planner. And this fasting planner is going to allow you to map out the topics where we cover mindset goals, lifestyle goals, self-care goals, fasting goals, and you can be as generic or specific as you like. I encourage very wholeheartedly for you to make this as personalized and customized as possible. Does that mean you might not yet attend to what your self-care goals look like, or your mindset goals, or maybe you have like just one for now, but let's say that changes or adds on more as you go on through your journey? This is totally fine. Once you download this file, you'll be able to make duplicate copies of this page specifically to utilize for however many months you need to use it for. After that is just one page of notes. If you're using it digitally, fellow iPad users can copy and duplicate that page as well as many times as they need to for note-taking. And on the last page is a nice little thank you note from me with an additional discount code. So if you are interested in getting this handbook, again, this is the beginner kind of mini condensed version of the full fasting focused lifestyle. Say that 3 times fast. Of the original version. So this is a shortened kind of mini. I keep going back to mini. It feels like a mini version. So I'm just calling it either the mini or the beginner, whatever. I hope you understand what I mean. This is the small, the baby handbook. I don't know. I'm still spitballing, but I think I've titled it the beginner handbook. So we're going to go with beginner handbook for now, because I feel the original full version has a lot more complexities to it and a lot more in depth, in detail. So in the full version of the handbook, if you're interested, the full version goes a lot more in detail about your sometimes, your all the time foods, about the specific significance with establishing those SMART goals and really taking inventory mentally, emotionally throughout this journey, and how and why that is so important for your success on this journey. How it's not just this external process where you're torturing yourself into a smaller pant size. It's not that. My hope is that you truly understand the value of this tool as time goes on. Even if you're faking it, if you're just going with the flow in the beginning and you're just trudging along, Vicky said it'll get better. Vicky said it'll get better. Keep pushing, keep showing up for yourself. My handbook can absolutely help you. Start with the beginner handbook if you're curious. All the details for that are in the show notes here. The link to the beginner handbook is in the show notes, or feel free to check out the additional resources I have on my website, thefastingfocusedlifestyle.com. And truly, as I've said, as I always believe, and very, very passionate in my belief that you can do this too, because I truly believe in your ability to do this. You can do this. I know you can. Even in the darkest times or the most challenging times of struggle, I know it can seem challenging, but you're worth this. You can do this. Your future self is so proud of you already. Just keep going. You have got this. I believe in you, even if you don't. Please take care of yourself, and we'll talk again later. The Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. Copyright 2024. The information given within this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your doctor before starting any weight loss method. Thank you.